Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Young and the Restless sees Victoria, Newman, Amelia Heinel, and Nate Hastings, Sean, Dominic, both grieving, and it sure feels like we could be getting a reunion between them soon. The last time Nate and Victoria were together, it was frankly a big old mess because Nate was in a committed relationship when they started up. He was with Elena Dawson Brittany Sarpy, and then he cheated on her with Victoria, who was very hot in pursuit of him. Thanks to Audra Charles Zuleika Silver blabbing to Elena, she traveled to LA, confronted Victoria, and dumped Nate. Then Victoria started dating Nate properly, and they began a genuine relationship, but it wasn't a high-functioning one. The way they started wasn't good because it was based on him cheating on Elena, who's nice. Victoria was flirting with someone that worked for her, which was dodgy and inappropriate. Part of why Nate and Victoria wound up splitting was also down to Victor Newman Eric Bredin being so heavy-handed and overly involved in Victoria's life. Clearly, the Newmans are a big obstacle to any relationship that Victoria starts up, but Victor in particular. However, I do think Victoria is also done letting her dad have a say in her love life. She told him to shove it over Cole Howard J. Eddie Peck, and she stuck by her guns. After all that happened, that's when Nate got with Audra, who had been hot and heavy for him for a while before that. Victoria wound up involved with her ex Cole Howard after his crazy Aunt Jordan Howard Colleen Zank brought him and their daughter Claire Grace Newman Haley Aaron back into Victoria's life. While Nate was busy prying open Audra's cold heart, who wasn't open to love before, we saw Victoria and Cole making up for lost time with Claire. Victoria and Cole were falling back in love. Now, though, things are changing for both Victoria and Nate. Recently, Cole died after getting Legionnaire's disease. He didn't respond to treatment and lost his battle. Naturally, Victoria is grieving and trying to be there to console Claire as well. One of the first signs of a possible Nate and Victoria reunion came a while back when Cole was sick and Nate was being very supportive of Victoria and trying to be helpful. Then, when Cole died, Nate headed over right away to console Victoria in her great time of loss. Her family was away in France, but Nate was there for Victoria. This week, it's Nate's turn to do some grieving and get comforting from Victoria, because Lily Winters, Crystal Cowell breaks the news to Nate that Damien Kane Germain Rivers was killed in France. Nate is horrified that his newfound brother is gone so suddenly when he and Damien were just starting to really get to know each other. Nate is also going to worry about how Amy Lewis Valerie Pettiford will handle this since she's still undergoing cancer treatment. She's going to be devastated to know that her son Damien is dead, and may even blame herself because she's the one who brought him to GC, which was kind of the road he ended up on before he was killed. Nate thought he and Damien were going to have all the time in the world to get to know each other, but they wound up having barely any time at all. Another huge sign of what could be a Victoria and Nate reunion is when and how Nate finds out that Damien died. This week, Nate is over at Victoria's place talking to her and Claire. They're discussing Cole's memorial service and whether to wait or do it because the Newmans are still gone. Lily calls Nate and asks him to step out so she can speak to him privately. Nate steps outside to talk to Lily, and even though it's over the phone, she tells him the terrible news that Damien was murdered. She did it over the phone because Lily didn't want Nate to hear it from somebody else before family got to tell him. Victoria is absolutely horrified to hear that Nate's brother died, and she's comforting him on Young and the Restless. Victoria and Nate are grieving these two losses at the same time and doing that grieving together because they are true friends. They are a genuine source of comfort for one another. All that grief bonding feels like groundwork for a reunion between Nate and Victoria. Of course, it won't happen right away because Victoria's grief over Cole is very fresh and she'll need time to grieve. But I can see Nate really helping Victoria through that even while he's going through his whole thing. Nate is still with Audra, at least for now, but that seems doomed to fail. Once Nate finds out Audra agreed to break Claire and Kyle Abbott Michael Mealer up for Victor Newman Eric Bredin to get that startup capital for V. Bronte, that's going to be a huge problem. Nate may agree with Kyle that Audra was basically pimping herself out, playing seduction games for investment money. Nate is going to flip because Audra made out with Kyle. According to Kyle, Audra was using Damien's death as an excuse to get close to him. Honestly, Audra might have gone ahead and done the sexy thing with him if Kyle hadn't tapped the brakes. Audra was trying to avoid actually seducing Kyle, but by the time she got to France, she was so desperate to get that money from Victor that it seemed like she changed her mind and was just ready to bite the bullet and do what she had to. Kyle already threatened to out her. If Audra doesn't come clean to Nate, I bet he's going to hear it elsewhere. Lily, Abby Newman, Melissa Ordway, and others all noticed that Audra was all over Kyle on the trip. While Damien's death may buy Audra some time, that won't last forever. Plus, Kyle already told Nikki Newman Melody Thomas Scott, who may talk to Claire about it. I just don't see Audra and Nate lasting much longer. He's going to find out what she did, and I think he'll kick Audra to the curb pretty soon. Once he does, Nate and Victoria are both going to be sad and lonely, and it could be back on between them. They are both very different now from the last time Nate was with Victoria. When Nate was working with her at Newman Media, and then at the main company and they were first hooking up, Victoria was so ruthless and 100% focused on business. Now Nate is seeing a more evolved Victoria who stepped out of the CEO role and is more focused on Claire, family, and quality of life. That's something Nate can really appreciate. Victoria has changed a lot, and honestly, Nate has too. He's got more family in his life with Amy and the brother Damien that he just lost. He's not a player. After Audra basically threw them away because of her desperate ambition, I don't think Nate's going to want to date a CEO type who's overly involved in work. Victoria has softened up quite a bit, and I think she and Nate could be the next big love on Young and the Restless. Plus, there wouldn't be anything scandalous about it this time since Victoria and Nate are both single. Last time, they began as a fling based on lust and lies, which morphed into a dodgy relationship that crashed and burned. If they do reunite this time, I think it'll be Nate helping Victoria heal and vice versa, and then it blossoms into real love. I think it could be amazing. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.